we're going to record Dad telling what he knows about Grandpa CFB Lybbert's gold watch. And actually, so just so everyone knows, I mean, I'm the one who, I'm in possession of the watch. I've got it, and we'll explain how I ended up with it. We'll tell all of that. But I also want to, yeah, well, I mainly want, because Dad, I think, probably knows more than anyone else living right now about the history of this gold watch. So Dad, can you tell us what you know about the gold watch?
Well, what I remember as a young boy, you know, this goes back to Canada, so it was before I was 10 years old. Dad showing me the gold watch, and it had on the front of it CFB, and in very fancy penmanship, they sort of blended together the letters in the watch. And he said it was his grandfather's watch, and he gave it to his first grandson through his oldest son. So his first son's first son got the watch, and that was Dad. And Dad wore that watch years and years and years. He had the gold chain with a vest that it'd go across his pocket. But I remember him taking it to the jeweler, and the jeweler said he couldn't believe the fine workmanship of it. He said it's one of the best watches he had ever seen. And those about the most I seen. It was very valuable to Dad. He loved that watch, and he really took care of it. That's about the most I remember, son.
Okay, so, well, let's explain. So Grandpa CFB Lybbert gave it to Grandpa Enoch then?
No, it went straight to Dad. I think he gave it to Dad when he was 18 years old.
Okay, so it went from Grandpa CFB to
Dad.
Your dad, Christian Frederick Bernard Lybbert.
Yes.
And
likewise, Dad gave it to Gary.
Okay, so because Grandpa CFB gave it to his oldest,
he went to his oldest son's first son.
His oldest son's first son.
So his grandson from his oldest son is why Dad got it. Grandpa had older grandsons than Dad. Lester Lybbert was, for one, I know.
That's why he thought it should have been his.
Yeah. I think Lester Lybbert was literally CFB's first grandson. But Dad was, Enoch was CFB's first son, and then Dad was Enoch's first son. That's why he got it.
Well, and I think, Daddy, you should tell the story of why Grandpa's grandson was so much younger.
Yeah, Grandpa, when he, I don't know really why Grandpa was doing it all. I don't know what the deal was with great Grandpa, but Grandpa stayed home and run the farm and sent all 5 of his brothers on missions. And when his baby brother got off his mission, which was Uncle Jake, said, I think it's time that you went on a mission. So they took care of the farm, and Grandpa went on his mission, but he was 32 years old at that time, and that's why he was sold when he got married.
That's Grandpa Enoch.
Yep. I think he was 34 when he got married.
Okay.
So he went to Norway and converted his sweetheart, and her family kicked her out, and he sent her to Salt Lake. And then when he got off his mission, he courted her and married her.
Cornered or courted?
Ordered.
Courted. Courted.
Courted.
He didn't
Courted.
Courted her.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, and that's Augusta, Augusta Renan.
Yes.
Okay,
And
he converted her in Norway. That's awesome.
converted her in Norway. And she said at the time, the time her dad said, as far as we're concerned, you're dead. And they kicked her out.
Well, yeah, and then her family became pretty infamous in Norway through World War II.
And of course, I don't know whether you want to get into that. There's a story of Rex finding her mother when he was on his mission.
Yeah, you should tell that.
Well, Rex he was this like, I think 150 miles from his assigned area. So he got a permission one day on his P day that he could go there, and he went and he looked her up. Of course, everybody talked about, you don't talk about the Renan name in that country, because my great grandmother's brother was one of Hitler's right hand men. But when Rex met his great grandmother, she was 91 years old in bed with a broken hip. And she told him to go to the chest and open the chest. And she took some envelopes out of every one of the dad and all his siblings. When they was born, she'd cut a little clip of hair and send it to her. And her mother had all these envelopes, and Rex brought that back home from his mission. And I don't know, Garth had them, so I imagine Shane's got them now. But they're in existence. Those envelopes with the original baby locks of hair from each one of dad and his siblings.
I remember seeing that, I think at Uncle Rex's.
Well, I know Garth had them, so I'm sure that Shane must have them. But Rex, yeah, brought them home. And of course, he talks about it in the family book. But he came very close. He wrote that big book about the family history, CFB Lybbert.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I think. Maybe when I remember being at Uncle Rex's and looking at that book for the first time. I think when I saw those locks of hair.
Yeah, because he had them. And when he died, he must have given them to Garth.
So
because I know Garth had them. It was the last I know of. So I'm just assuming that Shane's got them.
Probably. I just want to review now the order of possession of the gold watch. So great grandpa CFB Lybbert
Give it to dad.
gave it to my grandfather, your father.
Okay, so I have a question. Where did he get it? Did he have it made for him, or was it a gift, or
He bought
how
it
did he
at,
get it?
I think he bought it at the jewelry.
He would have been the original owner, I'm sure.
Yep.
It was made in
Yeah.
1908. It was.
Yeah, I knew he was the original owner. I just wanted to know where he got it from.
So it came to my grandpa, your dad, when he was 18, because he was the oldest son of the oldest son. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
He may have got it son when he was 16. Now I don't know, but he was old enough that he was accountable.
Okay. Yeah. So, but he got it because he was the oldest son of the oldest son. So grandpa, grandpa gave it to
his first grandson.
So he
So
decided,
not the first grandson of his oldest son then.
right. So grandpa changed it. Grandpa
Right.
decided to give it to his oldest grandson.
Right. And that's Gary.
And that's my brother, Gary. And then Gary died in 2010 when he was camping with his wife in Grand Canyon National Park. he had a massive heart attack and died while they were there camping. And his wife, Tricia, at the time, of course, so she obviously is in possession of the watch, and she gave it to me, and I have it now.
You know, Tricia talked to us about it, and I felt like you should have it because you carry Dad's name. And well, you're the only other son in our family too.
Actually, there was nothing said too much about it, but Garth felt like Chip should have had it.
Because he was the oldest, he
Because
was the oldest grandson of the
grandson
oldest.
from the,
Yeah.
no, he was the oldest son with a grandson.
That would have
Right.
followed, that would have followed the same pattern.
But
Yeah.
Dad had it, you know, Dad is the one that made the decision.
Yeah, and
And he had the watch, so he was entitled to do what he wanted to do. You know, we didn't do it. Dad gave it directly to Gary.
so I have the watch, and I don't know.
Does it still work?
Oh yeah, it works. It needs a cleaning. I mean, the fancy inscription that Dad describes that he remembers seeing when he was just a boy, it's if you get the light shining on it just right, you can tell that there's some inscription there. But it's, I mean, it says on the inside of the back cover, I'm going to post this. I've got good pictures of this. But it says on the inside of the back cover, it says, the Burlington Watch Company guarantees this case to be made of 2 plates of solid gold and to wear for 25 years. And then it's got the serial number of the case, not the serial number of the movement. And it's the serial number of the movement that identifies when it was made. So it was definitely manufactured in 1908. We know that. But those inscriptions on the outside, all the fancy stuff, you can barely, and I can't see CFB. I can see that there's some other fancy stuff, but I can't see the CFB anymore. It's all worn off.
Brad,
Yeah.
you think is possible to have that redone?
I don't think we'd want to do that, even if you could. I don't think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Yeah,
original.
I wondered, I figured it maybe would not want to, but
Yeah.
As when Dad got it, you could see it good. Very fancy, very fancy. I don't know, maybe it's sort of English, but it's very fancy
Scripts.
script, yes.
Yeah.
CFB. But to get it all on the watch, because they're big. So one goes over the other one.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. The reason why I don't have Bernard in my name is because Grandpa recommended not to
Right.
include you and Mom, that not to include Bernard because it was such a.
he had a fit when he found out we
Human
were gonna name you that.
What's that, Mom?
He had a fit when he found out we were gonna name you that. But then he relaxed when we said, well, we'll leave one of the names off. He said, leave Bernard off.
But you know, but we was young and foolish. In all reality, Gary should have had that name instead of you. But Dad didn't.
I have no idea how Gary got named.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't either. But Dad was not proud of the 3 names. He did not like them. Not that there was so much any one name he didn't like. He just didn't like having 3 names.
Well, I can relate to that. I go by my middle name, and that is, I mean, that's created a lot of, nothing over that you can't overcome, but it has created a lot of grief for me throughout my life. When you fill out, they want to know, you filling out formal documents, they want to know, what's your first name? Well, do you want my first name or do you want my name that I go by? Right? And it just
Yeah, right. Well, see, I don't know why Dad was Bernard, but see, that was the last one. I don't know if CFB went, if his great grandfather went by Bernard or not. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be
I
interesting.
don't know if anybody knows that now. I'm sure Dad knew, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Everything we've always went by is CFB Lybbert.
Yeah. And well, that's how he advertised in the paper, CFB Lybbert and Son.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he went by CFB.
Well, and according, but Uncle Hardin is Hardin.
Olden, isn't
Olden
Olden?
Harden. Harden
And-
Olin.
And he got a letter one day, Holy Lybbert,
Holy Bert.
Holy Bert Lybbert,
No, not
Holy
no,
Bert.
Just Holy Bert.
Oh,
His initials were H.O. Lybbert. So it was Holy Bert.
that's like my email address is flibbert@gmail.com. And people, when they read that back to me, or when they see my email address, is your email address flybert@gmail.com? I go, yeah, that's flybert@gmail.com. Well, thanks, Dad. I think that's we're gonna, in fact, we've got 1 minute and 2 seconds left, but that's what I wanted to capture.
Okay.
I'll edit this and post with pictures